Well, it's still summer in Old St. Lou, and since the last episode of Arch Eats, the weather has gotten seasonal, which is just slightly better than unbearable. But the good news is that the summer fruits and produce and herbs are all in peak season. So today we're going to talk about our favorite tastes of summer, our must-haves before they all slip away. This episode of Arch Eats is sponsored by Music at the Intersection. Hello, I'm George Mahey, and with me is my cool as a cucumber co-host.
This is Cheryl Bear. I don't know about that, George. It's pretty hot out.
And we will talk about cucumbers, but before we do, it's what I can't stop thinking about. You want to go ahead?
I do. Speaking of doing things to make you stay cool, I've been spending a decent amount of time at the Kirkwood Pool, or I guess we call it the Kirkwood Aquatic Center, because, you have to be fancy. It has a lazy river.
That's more than a pool.
Yeah, exactly. So they have a great snack bar, and I've always liked their pretzels there. They get them from Pretzel Boys, but I recently tried their sweet pretzel. Now, I am a savory pretzel person through and through, but they do a cinnamon and brown sugar pretzel that is served with a side of vanilla frosting. The whole thing together tastes like a glorious cinnamon roll. You are eating it in your swimsuit, looking out over the pool. The sun is beating down. You smell sunscreen. I think it might be my most essential taste of summer.
Cinnamon and butter and sugar. There's no better taste
No.
around, really.
No, there isn't.
And if you're not eating those little pups at Pretzel Boys, which is a total addiction for me, I can't get away from the pups.
And let me just tell you, I was worried that the cinnamon and the brown sugar weren't going to pop. It was just going to taste like a pretzel with some stuff sprinkled on as an afterthought. It is saturated in the cinnamon, brown sugar, and butter. It truly has the gooey texture and feel of a cinnamon roll.
And you
It's
don't even
extraordinary.
need to wash your hands. You just go jump in the pool.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, it's summertime, right? And a great taste of summer is a Maine lobster roll.
I mean, of course.
Lobsters are in season summer and fall, so there's a lot of them, and the price tends to go down, which is a good thing because lobster rolls are very expensive. I'm a big fan of the Maine style, basically cold lobster tossed with a little mayo in a split top bun. There isn't a whole lot to it, but you don't need much more than that because it's so delicious. And a friend of mine said, I'm a fan of the Connecticut style, and I wasn't until recently, but I'm telling you, once you try this, you're not going to go back. I haven't gone back to the Maine style. It's that good. Anyway, he made me one. I had one. I've had one since at Peacemaker, where I've always had the cold ones. And basically, the Connecticut style roll is fresh picked lobster meat, cooked in a little butter, salt, pepper, maybe some herbs, and served on a split top bun, warm, and it is delicious. I get it. And I was reading something random from Ina Garten, and she said, once you try a Connecticut style roll, you won't go back. It's a different experience. So I thought that there was only one way. I've spent a lot of time in Maine, but you know what? There's something to be said for this Connecticut style. The one that I like I said, is at Peacemaker, but they also have a mini version at Yellow Belly.
Really?
And the one at Yellow Belly is cooked in a little sherry butter that's garnished with some pickled
Oh.
fennel and served on a black sesame sweet Hawaiian roll. So that one is excellent as well. Nothing against the Maine style, but don't sleep on a Connecticut style lobster roll.
See, I love a good Connecticut style one. I might be team Maine, though, all the way. There's something about that little bit of celery and everything that cuts through it. We might have to do a point
When was the
counterpoint one
last
day.
time you tried a Connecticut style? Because it had been years, it had been decades for me. I tried it once and I go, that's okay. But once I tried the Maine, that was it. I'm kind of going to the other side of the fence.
Well, I kind of like the Maine for lunch. I feel like it's more of a lunch one. And the Connecticut's more of a dinner one. Maybe that's the nuance there. There's something that
I can
seems-
see that.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Well, apparently this debate is going to continue for a moment. We'll be right back.
Maddie is back September 12th through the 14th. 3 days, 15 stages, and over 100 unforgettable performances. Catch legends like Common and Pete Rock, Patti LaBelle, and De La Soul. Groove with R&B stars Lucky Day and Leon Thomas. Feel the soul of jazz with Branford Marsalis and Pedrito Martinez. and bring the funk with John Medeski and the SOS Band. Enjoy live music, art exhibits, food trucks, vendors, and good vibes, all in the streets of the Grand Center Arts District. Grab your passes now at mattiestl.org. And now, back to the show.
Summer's still here. We've talked about ice creams. We've talked about custards. We've talked about our favorite desserts. We've kind of done everything that we can possibly do, except talk about some savory dishes and some salads and some other items that we just can't get enough of during summer. You want to start off, as we each have about 5 that I think we came up with.
We do. And gosh, there's so many great things about summertime eating, but to me, it comes down to the tomato. I think that, yes, we can get tomatoes throughout the year. And you've even talked about how there are some purveyors who are doing a much better job getting us some good ones, even in the winter time.
Tony Tomato is known
Exactly.
for doing that year round.
Exactly. So I am on board with that. But to me, there is nothing like a juicy, ripe, peak of the season heirloom tomato, thick sliced, so gorgeous. Just a little simple salt on there is all you need. It's stunning. It is the embodiment of summer. And I think that you can't say you've fully experienced summer at its peak unless you've had a BLT. BLTs to me are vital in the summertime.
It's the only time I eat them
Yes.
because of the summertime tomatoes.
Yes. So the place I always recommend for that, besides making it yourself at home, because it's so easy, but Parker's Table does a great one. They use wonderful fresh baked ciabatta bread. They use thick sliced tomatoes from Mr. Schmidt's, which is a teeny tiny farm in the Metro East. There is actually a gentleman named Mr. Schmidt who picks the tomatoes. They are such limited quantity. So when you can get them there, you're really in for a treat. They're juicy, they're sweet, they're perfect. They put a little bacon, a little bit of dressed greens on there. It's absolutely outstanding. 10 out of 10 recommend.
Yeah, summertime tomatoes can't be beat. Neither can the stuffed squash blossoms
Ooh.
at Katie's.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of stuffed squash blossoms.
You know, before the giant zucchini come around, they're giant squash blossoms, right? And she stuffs them with ricotta cheese and fries them in this see-through tempura batter. It's about
Gorgeous.
as delicate as it can be. So you can see and taste the squash blossoms. They are just delicious. Comes with a little arrabbiata sauce, a little spicy sauce just to kick it up a bit. Just a delicious appetizer item. I'll have that, and then I'll go to the tomato and watermelon caprese salad, which is unbelievable. There's local melon, there's burrata, there's some balsamic on there, some mint, some basil, and then she throws in a few wild cards. Tajaska olives.
Oh,
Not familiar with them till I had them at Katie's. They're these small olives from Liguria, and they're often reddish brown. So they look like a Kalamata, but they don't have that heavy. Kalamata's got a distinct flavor.
very much
These
so.
are a little bit milder tasting. So there's those olives in there, and then she garnishes it with the purple amaranth leaves, which are kind of nutty, and they're sweet, and they're this beautiful purple color. And again, I didn't know much about that, but they are considered among the tastiest of the edible wild greens.
Oh, wow.
Amaranth leaves. So Katie's always got some surprises, and this salad definitely has some surprises. But start with the squash blossoms, finish with that salad, and that's just a nice light summer meal.
See, I totally agree with you on the squash blossoms and the tomato salad. My favorite place for a tomato salad is Little Fox. I think that they are so good at really embracing the bounty of the season and everything they do, whether it's winter, fall, spring, summer. And their tomato salad is one of my favorites. It's just glorious.
Is it a caprese?
It's not a caprese. It is macerated local tomatoes, shaved pickled beets, fennel, olive oil, toasted seeds, fresh herbs. It's so wonderful because the tomatoes are center stage. It's so bright. It's gorgeous. The fennel adds a beautiful herbal pop. The beets give it this richness and this really luxurious texture. And then the vinaigrette just lifts everything. It is vibrant.
You know, capreses are so easy to make at home. I make them all the time. And the raw materials are very easy to come by. Most people in St. Louis are growing basil, and if not, your neighbor is. So just go snitch a little from them to make your salad.
Exactly.
But the salad that I like when I'm not making it at home is the Italian tomato salad at Bartolino's, which is
Ooh.
one of their big sellers. I've talked about their house salad before. That's great. This is another option that has sliced tomatoes, onions. It's got anchovies, a little bit of blue cheese crumbles,
Oh,
some
wonderful.
burrata, white balsamic, and olive oil. So it's got all these fun ingredients. But again, the tomato is center stage, and
Yes.
they've got great tomatoes, certainly in the summer, but I believe they get them from Tony Tomatoes, and I don't think that's his real name, but everybody calls him Tony Tomato, and he supplies them all year long. So any of the Bartolino's restaurants have it. It's their Italian tomato salad.
And this is nerding out, but I love white balsamic. I think it just has such a rounder, sweeter flavor. I find that it's gentler on the palate than the darker balsamic. So I think it's really fun that they use that there. What about corn, George? You cannot enjoy summer's bounty without enjoying corn.
Probably have it twice a week.
So wonderful.
And it's so perfect in the summertime. And if you have it in the wintertime, you go, I think I want to wait till summer because it just isn't that good. It's very starchy. It's just not as
It's
good.
starchy. I really find that the kernels just pop. I don't mean like popcorn. I mean that they have like a
You can
snappy
tell. Yeah.
texture to
Yep.
them this time of year that's so lovely and sweet. So Pizzeria de Gloria on the hill. Wonderful pizzeria. It is very hard to get me to eat anything there besides their Banchi pizza, which is the one with the eggplant and the chili oil and the garlic.
Right. And no tomato sauce.
No tomato, no nothing. Let's just say I'm going to go ahead and order that. And I'm also going to order, they have a corn and scallion pizza. Again, like the Banchi, this does not have tomato sauce on it. It's this luxurious, creamy white sauce interspersed with corn and scallions. It complements the wood char on the pizza so well because you're getting that bitter char and the sweet corn. It's perfect.
So do they put a cheese on this pizza?
They do. They put a little bit of mozzarella on there, which I love because I find that it's pretty neutral. So it's not overwhelming that delicate corn flavor. So it just ties everything together in this beautiful richness.
Like that eggplant pizza, it sounds bizarre enough that you just have to try it.
Yes.
I saw a couple weeks ago that it's pick your own peaches season over at Eckert's. Do you have any peach dishes that you particularly fancy in the summertime?
Do I have a peach dish, George?
I know. I figured, okay, I've opened the floodgates, but just give me,
So,
let's start with one.
Louis. You know my love of Louis. It's a perfect restaurant. I get their prosciutto and Parmesan Reggiano plate every single time I go. I should probably order the small. I order the large. It's embarrassing, but I really don't care. And
Sliced by the owner himself in the
sliced
back.
by the
Matt
owner
McGuire.
himself. It's such a thing. You know, you have to have that when you go to Louis. This time of year, they add fresh, beautiful peaches to the plate. I mean, think of how juicy and sweet peaches are, and then pair them with that subtle sweetness of the prosciutto.
And the saltiness, sweet and
Oh
salty.
my God. It's heaven on earth. Absolute heaven on earth. I love it so, so much. You cannot go to Louis and not get this. And this time of year, every single table in that restaurant has it. The entire place smells like peaches. It's transcendent.
I love it. And the reason I ask is I have one too. Out at the Daily Bread in De Pere for the last 2 decades during August, that's peach month out there. And they get local peaches and they're making peach strudels, peach pies, peach coffee cakes, stolons, scones, everything. It's their biggest seller. The pies are their biggest seller, actually. And they're a don't miss. They used to have a big peach festival and they used to kind of go crazy. They've still got all this available. They don't promote it much on their website. I thought they stopped it, but they don't. So you walk in there for a peach pie and you end up getting a stolen. Oh, there's a peach muffin. I think I'll have one of those. It's just one of those kind of things. And we're talking in July here, and July is blueberry month when they do the same thing with blueberries. They put blueberries in every possible thing they can bake them into. And I believe that June is cherry month. They do something every month. And no matter what your weakness is for summer fruit, the Daily Bread has you covered. So another fruit that's coming into season is over at Eckert's in Belleville. It's apple season, and they've made a big deal out of hard cider. They used to make some of them and buy some of them anyway. As of this year, out of the 12 hard ciders they have, they're making them all on site using Eckert's apples. And it's fun because you can get a flight of 4 of the limited edition summer ones or 4 of your own choosing, or you can get a sample of all 12 for $35.
I mean, you don't have to ask me twice. Every time I've done a cider tasting, I have been shocked at how different they are. You have some that are dry as a bone and some
That's
that are
what
so round
exactly.
and luscious.
That's what's fun about it. And if you like one at Eckert's, you can get a 16-ounce glass for $8, but you can sample your way around all day long. And they're really geeking out on this. They're even barrel aging certain batches of
Ooh.
it. So this is at the Cider Shed at Eckert's Belleville Farm, and it goes at least all summer long. And they've got concerts there on Friday night, and they've got happy hours, and they've got something called the Tap Handle Challenge where you can taste your way through all of the seasonal varieties. And I think you get a T-shirt if you do it.
Challenge
But why
accepted.
not? I need another T-shirt. So always fun things going on at Eckert's. And even if you don't like cider, you're going to like it when you're finished with this.
I think cider, there is something for everyone. That's what I've really found with it.
This is a little bit random, but I had one of these salads a couple weeks ago at Crushed Red, and I'd never had it before. It was the name that attracted me. This pear is on fire, and it has spiced pears, some dried cranberries, some bacon. I think there's goat cheese and spinach, house greens, tossed with a jalapeno honey dressing and topped with candied walnuts. And it is a really, really good salad. I would have never dreamt to put all those ingredients into a salad, but they're doing that at Crushed Red. I think it's seasonal. It's a pear salad. Pears are in season. They've got 16 available salads there, and this is my current favorite. It's one of those where I had it, and we went back there a couple weeks later, and very unlike George, I ordered the same thing again.
That sounds so good,
It was
George.
awesome.
Wow. Well, you are on a pear kick. It's summertime, so of course I'm on a pork steak kick. Can you have summer in St. Louis without a pork steak? I don't think so.
No.
No.
The answer is no.
The answer is no. That is not up for debate at all. There are several places to get great pork steaks, namely anyone's backyard who has access to malls and Busch beer that they can make a lovely concoction out of. But one of my favorites, if I'm going to eat it out in a restaurant right now, is at Grand Pied, which is on Morganford and Tower Grove South. I love this restaurant. Like I said about Pizzeria de Gloria with the Banchi pizza, it's difficult for me to order anything besides pancakes at Grand Pied, but I guess I can have a pork steak with a side of pancakes there. I don't know. I mean, we're living large these days, but their pork steak is so wonderful. It's one of those really thick cut ones. It's not the thin little kinds that you do in your backyard.
Right.
This is thick. I mean, in the pictures, I almost thought they were showing a picture of a short rib. It is glorious. Nicely rubbed, fall apart meat, and then they're putting it on a bed of creamy, cheesy grits.
Oh, it's grits, not polenta.
It's grits, and it is wonderful. Highly, highly, highly recommend this.
It's funny. We did this, I think, over the 4th of July. There was an Ask George question, and the question was, are there any secrets to cooking the perfect pork steak? And we had some of the SLM staffers weigh in, and we asked some local pitmasters. And it was interesting because the answers ranged from smoking low and slow to don't smoke them at all. Put them in the oven.
Oh, that's funny.
But one commonality was grilling and simmering in a sauce that's made from malls and, you said it, Busch beer.
It has to be Busch. I don't know
And
why.
I think of all the people that mentioned, I think 5 of them said it's got to be Busch beer.
Yes.
And one of them, Pat Eby, said she'd never had a pork steak before moving to St. Louis, not uncommon. And she'd suffered through a few tough as nails ones at some of these barbecues. And then she ended up at Beastcraft Barbecue
The
in
gold
Belleville,
standard.
which is the gold standard. And this was mentioned several times in this article. Home of the 30-ounce pork steak, 22 ounces cooked. But even David Sandusky says the ideal weight for him is 24 ounces. That's a pound and a half. That's a big old boy. And just when things couldn't get any better than Beastcraft, she ended up at Grand Pied and had that exact one you talked about. And so her bottom line was just go to either place and you'll be in really good shape. We'll be right back.
This episode of Arch Eats is supported by Stages St. Louis. This summer, prepare to be swept away by Austin's Pride, a bold reimagining of Pride and Prejudice, where Jane Austen herself steps into the story and embarks on a journey of self-discovery. This fresh musical take on the beloved classic is filled with wit, wisdom, and a sweeping original score. From July 25th through August 24th, Stages St. Louis brings the pre-Broadway production of Austin's Pride to the Kirkwood Performing Arts Center. Get your ticket now by visiting stagesstlouis.org or call 314-821-2407. And now, back to the show.
We're of the same mind on today's micro rant. It's when restaurants run out of items, when they have stock outs. And I know you had an unusual experience, but not uncommon. So.
It's not. And this was one of those situations where I almost texted you, but then I didn't want to bother you. But I was so incensed about this. You and I are both restaurant people. We give so much grace to people in the business because we know what it's like, and we are both very understanding. Sometimes you have a run on something that you weren't prepared for. Sometimes things get busier than you expected. Sometimes a truck doesn't show up. I totally get that. So running out of specials, running out of barbecue,
specials,
it happened.
And it's designed to happen.
Exactly.
They want it to happen at some point during the night. So we give a pass for that. That's done by design.
But this was a situation where I sat down at a restaurant, and when the server greeted me, she had a list of probably 6 different things that they were sold out of. And it was just one after another. And I mean, these are things like chicken wings, tomatoes, random things that you would think if you were planning well for that you wouldn't run out.
And even if you weren't, I was in the business, and a lot of times on Sundays, we couldn't get a delivery. So on Sundays is when you ran out of stuff, and we found ourselves running to the grocery store for chicken wings or for tomatoes, like you say, or for bread. You just handle it.
Yeah, you handle it. And this was also a situation where some of the ingredients they were out of for certain dishes, they just served the dishes without these ingredients, like bacon on potato skins, for instance, which, is this the end of the world? Not really.
That's a key ingredient.
But it's a key ingredient. So I think that it's an indicator that there's something amiss. I think that's a problem.
And I mean, at least they're upfront with the stock out, because if you gamble that the diner won't choose the item in question, there's big consequences if it goes the other way, right? I mean, it's like, okay, what else are you out of tonight? You don't want the diner to have to ask that question. Be upfront, but handle the business. It's not that hard to substitute things, and restaurants should just do that.
It's not that hard to substitute things, or like you said, run out to the store if you're out of something essential.
I can't tell you how many times I did it, and really how many times restaurants should do it. And with that pleasant run to Schnook's thought, we're going to end this week's episode of Arch Eats. We will see you next time. It's still going to be summertime. I don't know what we're going to be talking about then, but we'll be talking about something. Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us and share with your friends. We always provide links in the show notes for everything you heard about today. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow along on Instagram at St. Louis Mag. And feel free to give us a follow personally at George Mahey and Cheryl A. Bear.
If you loved what you heard, show us some love by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. And if you're hungry for even more content, you can subscribe to our dining newsletters for the freshest coverage on the local restaurant and culinary scene.
That's it for this week. Best dishes, and see you next time.